Thank you for joining today's webinar. I'm Paul St. Amman, VP of Client Advancement at Silvertech. Today we're going to be discussing, is WordPress the right CMS for your business? Let's look at today's agenda. First, we're going to be starting off with exploring WordPress as a whole, as a platform, evaluating WordPress for your business needs, security and management considerations when choosing a CMS, the true cost of WordPress. It's not always free. And then we're also going to be talking about key features of WordPress as a platform. And then finally, making the final decision to see if it meets your business needs. Now, exploring WordPress. What is WordPress? It is an open source content management system used by millions and millions of users. It is open source, which is great, so anybody can actually take it and use it as however it fits their needs. It has a GPL version 2 license, so like I said, it is open source. It powers a significant portion of the internet, not just from blogs, but also corporate websites, e-commerce platforms, and much more. And it has massive community support, constant updates, and extensive documentation. Why WordPress? WordPress, like we mentioned, it powers 62.8% of all websites that use a CMS. It makes up over 43% of all websites on the internet. And according to BuiltWith, there's about 32.5 million websites that are built on the WordPress platform. It is used primarily for small businesses, but also major corporations alike. And the platform is very flexible, from blogs to e-commerce to enterprise-level solutions like we mentioned. Who uses WordPress? It isn't just mom and pop shops. The official White House website is actually built on WordPress. NASA, the Rolling Stones, the New Yorker, Sony Music, TechCrunch, Facebook Newsroom, all of their main websites are built on WordPress. And then obviously blogs is a big portion of the web. Microsoft, the Walt Disney Company, Disney Parks blogs, they all use that for their blog. Next, evaluating WordPress for your business needs. So where WordPress shines. Again, small to medium businesses, they do offer enterprise-level solutions, not just custom, but also platforms such as WordPress VIP, which is an enterprise-first solution. They also shine in the content delivery. It was originally made as a blog software and then obviously expanded to a CMS over a decade ago. So very popular. If you know how to use Microsoft Word, you could probably use WordPress. Next, e-commerce. They have their own solutions for e-commerce, such as WooCommerce, and they also have a lot of other plugins that can also process credit card transactions and have product inventory and stuff like that. So great platform for that. And then obviously startups needing a quick deployment. WordPress is very fast in development, and you can spin up a WordPress site within a matter of minutes. Customizability. WordPress is amazing in that it is open source, so there are thousands of themes and plugins that end users can use for styling the website, making it look and feel different. It's easy to switch different styles and themes on your WordPress website. Ease of use. It has a very user-friendly interface, even for non-technical users, so it makes it very easy to change out the theme, the look and feel, change out menu systems, add pages, add blogs, and so forth. And then a very large developer and user community, so very heavy on documentation. Security and management considerations. Security and management. What makes WordPress secure? One of the great things is they have regular updates. They are updating the core platform all the time. Security plugins, these are crucial to having a WordPress site. A lot of them offer DDoS protection, firewall access, and so forth, so you can really manage security as a whole on your website. And also managed hosting. There are dozens of premier hosting providers out there for WordPress. They all offer their own security plugins, their own solutions on the back end. So definitely picking one of those is a key priority. Skill sets needed. Basic WordPress knowledge. If you can use Microsoft Word, you can use WordPress. Plugin management. Again, something that you definitely need to do is update plugins. Biggest security hole right now is plugin management. And then obviously security monitoring, making sure your website is up, it's functional, getting alerts for anything, any downtime is a must. Maintenance considerations. Regular updates for WordPress core, so the platform as a whole. They release updates all of the time. Themes, so obviously as you pick a WordPress theme, making sure you have one that the author just doesn't abandon your theme, but is constantly providing security patches and updates to browsers and so forth. And then obviously, like we mentioned, plugin updates. The biggest security factor is having an insecure plugin and having cross-site scripting issues or SQL injections. So making sure everything is always updated and patched. And also comparing to other CMS platforms for managed services. The true cost of WordPress. Costs to consider when choosing WordPress. Hosting, shared versus managed. Shared hosting is great if you don't want to pay a lot for your website. You can get it in as cheap as $5 a month for a WordPress hosting. The problem is you're sharing your environment with tens of thousands of other websites. So if there's an issue, if one of the websites gets flooded with traffic, it's also going to affect your website. We always recommend having your own environment, some type of managed services provider, where you have your own instance. It's completely managed by them, so any type of PHP upgrades, any type of server level, Nginx or Apache updates, it's all handled directly through that managed service provider. Other costs to consider, premium themes and plugins. Not all themes, not all plugins are free. A lot of them do have recurring payments that are required, whether it's yearly or monthly. So if you do want that added functionality to really expand your website, there is additional cost for that. Maintenance. Obviously, ongoing maintenance, any type of custom development that's needed, security monitoring, all of that type of stuff does come with an additional fee. And WordPress isn't free. While the core WordPress software is free, any type of professional services or features that require a developer obviously would cost additional for those items. Key features of WordPress. The WordPress platform. So what comes with WordPress? Out of the box, it comes with support for pages, posts, which include taxonomy, so you can tag different posts, tag different items, categorize them. So when you want to display a page with certain categories, you can do that. Certain tags, you can do that. Out of the box now, since WordPress 5 and Gutenberg editor, and everything now comes default with the block editor, which is a big change from that old classic editor that people use. It comes with a media gallery built in, so it handles all of your assets such as images, PDFs, documents, that sort of stuff. It also comes with a menu system for navigation. Both, obviously, your theme would be responsive for mobile, but it also comes with a desktop menu system. Some also themes come with footer menus. By default, it also comes with users and roles. They have a subscriber, which is kind of just somebody that wants to subscribe to your blog. There's editor capabilities, and then there's admins, and they do have workflows built in as well, where an admin would be able to approve all of the pages to get published. And then there's also default themes that get installed with every core WordPress install. Next, how WordPress is kind of developed. There's two different mindsets in development. There's the new WordPress blocks, and then there's kind of a page editor. So WordPress blocks by default are basically the building blocks of a page. It comes with little single pieces of content that gets added to the WordPress page. And the WordPress blocks by default come with text blocks, so paragraphs, headings, lists, that sort of stuff. Media blocks, which is where you would inject onto the page like images, files, videos, design blocks. So this is kind of how you really set the layout of the page. So if you want to do like a row or column that you want to display different blocks inside of those, you've kind of used these design blocks to do the page layout. Widget blocks, these are basically kind of custom post types. So using your latest blog posts, again, you can choose category specific or taxonomy. You could also add custom HTML or some short codes. And then theme blocks, these are basically third-party themes. So kind of as you install different themes that you want to customize for your look and feel of the website, typically those themes would come with their own custom blocks with features that would extend upon the core block set. And then obviously embedded blocks. So this is kind of any feeds that you have, Twitter, YouTube, Vimeo, where you basically just reference them directly via a link, and then it pulls in that content directly onto the page. And like I mentioned, the alternative would be a page builder. So this is basically kind of that WYSIWYG style where you can just drag and drop stuff all over the page. You can kind of customize things. The biggest drawback would be that it gives you too much flexibility. So it's very easy to, manipulate some of the items, some of the blocks into blocks where they shouldn't be. It's easy to mess up the layouts of the page, and it's very hard to obviously roll back some of that stuff when you're mid-tier editing these. But page builders, basically the most popular ones are Avada, Elementor, Divi are pretty much the most popular ones. They have a lot of widgets that come with it out of the box, which is great, but it does take up a lot of resources constraints when you're actually loading the page because it loads all of that stuff at once. So, another limitation is obviously load times and stuff like that. And then we have the good old classic WordPress editor. So this one is pretty much the top download in the plugin store. It has over 5 million downloads. So this is basically rolling back prior to the block editor when Gutenberg was introduced. Making the final decision. So what are the benefits? It is flexibility and scalable, suitable for small and large businesses alike. It's open source in nature. Like I mentioned earlier, it's fantastic in that you can just take it and use it how you'd like. It's SEO friendly, so obviously coming from a blog platform where SEO was top of mind, it's now kind of morphed into the CMS with those SEO benefits still there. There's obviously good SEO plugins like Yoast and Rank Math that extend upon that, but just out of the box, it's a great SEO tool. And then it has a large community, continuous improvements, like I mentioned, with updates, and massive community support. Now for the pros and cons. Pros, it's free, no license cost. A lot of other CMSs have license costs associated. WordPress is free. It's open source. It has, like we mentioned earlier, a very user-friendly interface where most people can just figure it out without even having to do a formal training or anything. Has large community support, regular updates, like we mentioned, both feature and security updates. And it has a lot of integration plugins with third parties, which is excellent, such as HubSpot and other CRM and MA platforms. And it's scalable, so it does scale with you as long as you have the right hosting provider. Cons. It is open source. That's also a con. And the fact that obviously all of the code is open source, so people can view it, try to maliciously use the code base. It also has a learning curve for advanced customizations. So even though you're just doing standard pages and blogs, once you want to do kind of that customization, it is a bit of a learning curve, especially knowing PHP and stuff like that. It does have a reliance on third-party plugins unless you're doing everything custom. So one of the things, if you do move from WordPress, a lot of stuff is built from third-party plugins, so it's kind of just included. Moving to a different platform, none of that kind of custom animation and stuff like that would be included. And then third parties get expensive. Like we mentioned earlier, WordPress as a platform is free, but once you expand that functionality and theming, it can get pricey. One of the other things is potential for bloat. So plugins, Like we mentioned earlier, a lot of the page builders carry a lot of third-party libraries that basically would slow down your site, slow down your pages. So really making sure that the website's built properly. And then perceived branding limitations. So a lot of people just perceive WordPress as a small mom and pop shop solution, when in reality it's powering 40-something% of the web, and it has unlimited capabilities for enterprise level solutions. Finally, factors to consider with WordPress. Business goals. What's your long-term vision? What is your marketing plan? And how scalable do you want to be in the next year, 3 years, 5 years? Technical needs, in-house expertise. Do you have people on staff that have used WordPress? Do you have people that have used other CMS platforms where it would be easy to transition to something like WordPress? Third-party support. Again, with plugins, if you pick a plugin that no longer is supported, how do you go about expanding that functionality if it's no longer actively being supported? Ongoing support. One of the big things is maintenance, security updates, customization needs. What does that look like to you? Do you pay for a partner to join you in kind of moving forward in that sense? And why would WordPress be the right fit? It's flexible, it's affordable, it has a vast plugin ecosystem, and strong community support. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the overview of WordPress as a CMS, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions.